The year is 1600. In Osaka on a summer evening, soldiers surround a great mansion. Inside is one woman, the wife of a powerful lord and the daughter of the most hated traitor in Japanese history. The soldiers have not come to kill her. They have come to take her alive. Politely, carefully. Every army in Japan wants this woman alive. Instead, she turns to her own retainer and gives him an impossible order, an order that will help decide the future of Japan. If you watch the series Shogun, you know her as Lady Mariko. Her real name was Hosokawa Gracia, and her true story is stranger than the fiction. She was born in 1563 with the name Tama, Jewel. Her father was Akechi Mitsuhide, one of the most brilliant generals serving Oda Nobunaga, the warlord unifying Japan. At 15, she was married to Tadaoki, heir of the powerful Hosokawa family. The marriage was arranged by Nobunaga himself. They were the golden couple of their generation. Then, in the summer of 1582, her father did something no one could imagine. At a temple called Honnoji, Akechi Mitsuhide turned his army around and killed Nobunaga, his own lord. It remains the most famous betrayal in Japanese history. 11 days later, her father was defeated and dead, and overnight the Golden Bride became the traitor's daughter. By the custom of the age, her husband should have executed her, or at least divorced her. Tadaoki did neither. He hid her. She was sent to a village called Midono, deep in the mountains of Tango, and for 2 years the jewel of the Hosokawa family simply disappeared. In 1584, the new ruler of Japan, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, allowed her return. She came back to the Hosokawa mansion in Osaka and founded a gilded cage. Her husband Tadaoki was brilliant and cultured, a master of the tea ceremony taught by the great Sen Norikyu himself. He was also violently jealous. Guards watched her gates. She could barely leave the house. And yet, inside that cage, she found a door that no guard could close. From her lady-in-waiting, a Christian convert, she heard of a foreign faith that taught something astonishing for a woman of her position, that her soul was her own and equal to any lord's. In 1587, the very year Hideyoshi banned the foreign missionaries, she was secretly baptized in her own mansion. She took a new name, Gracia, Grace. Everything in her life had been decided by men, her marriage, her exile, her return. This name she chose herself. In 1598, Toyotomi Hideyoshi died, and Japan split in two. In the east, Tokugawa Ieyasu, the country's most powerful lord. In the west, Ishida Mitsunari, the loyal administrator of the Toyotomi house. Everyone understood there would be one final war for everything. Her husband Tadaoki chose Ieyasu and marched east with his army, leaving his family in Osaka. Mitsunari saw his opening. His plan was simple and, by the standards of the age, completely normal. Seize the wives and children of every lord marching with Ieyasu. Hold them in Osaka Castle. A samurai whose family is hostage cannot fight freely. It had been done for centuries. Everyone always complied. The first target on the list was the greatest name closest at hand, the Hosokawa mansion and the Lady Gracia. On a summer evening in the year 1600, Mitsunari's soldiers surrounded the mansion. They expected the routine: protest, negotiation, surrender. Gracia refused. She would not be a tool used against her husband's cause. She would not enter Osaka Castle. But her faith forbade her the samurai's exit. For a Christian, taking her own life was a sin. So she gave her retainer, Ogasawara Shosai, the impossible order. When the soldiers come, end my life, burn this house, and leave them nothing. She knelt, she prayed, and it was done as she commanded. She was 37 years old. The news of her death swept through Japan like a cold wind. Mitsunari's hostage plan collapsed overnight. To continue meant more dead wives and the fury of every lord in the land. The waverers hardened. The Eastern Army marched without fear for its families. 2 months later, at a place called Sekigahara, Tokugawa Ieyasu won the battle that would rule Japan for the next 260 years. No one can say one woman decided it, but every lord in Japan knew her name when the armies met. Her story did not stay in Japan. Jesuit missionaries sent it home in their letters, and Europe was fascinated. In 1698, at the Imperial Court of Vienna, the Jesuits staged a musical drama about her life. Mulier Fortis, the strong woman, performed for the Habsburg Empress herself, a Japanese noblewoman on a European stage a century after her death. And 4 centuries later, the world met her again, as Lady Mariko in Shogun, a role that won an Emmy Award. Norizan, Doken, and Sogi, the men of our earlier episodes, survived or fell by land, loyalty, and skill. Gracia held none of their cards. Her life was arranged, confined, and finally surrounded. What she kept was smaller and harder, what she believed, and where she would not be moved. In a century ruled by armies, the most consequential no in Japan came from an unarmed woman in a burning house. If this story was worth your time, subscribe. Forgotten Japan tells the stories that the famous tales of samurai and shoguns leave out.